I should have.
I'd ask the Director of Public Works, Kurt Niehaus, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the September 12th, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Bill Rippon, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning, everyone. Morning. First item of business, please.
First item is item 1, proclamations, presentations. Tecumseh Energy Center update, Jeff Martin and Andy Devine from Evergy.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Jeff Martin. I'm the Vice President of Customer and Community Operations for Evergy with the operating companies of Westar Energy and Kansas City Power and Light. Along with me today is Andy Devon, our Director of Tax. Before we get started, Chairman Archer, thank you for your service to this county and its constituents, and I wish you the best in the future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
What we're here today is just to give you an update on where we are with the Tecumseh Energy Center. It was announced back in 2018 that we would be closing that plant. You can see that it was initially commissioned in 1925, so it served our customers in the Northeast Kansas region very well for almost a century. However, it came to its end of life. To continue operation there, we would have had to put tens of millions of dollars into it to meet EPA requirements. It is a fossil fuel unit. With the way the markets are set up today, we didn't feel like it was going to be operating that much, especially with the additional expense that we would have had to put into that plant. So it made a lot of sense to go ahead and just retire that unit. That does have an impact on property taxes that come to this county. We have already met with the Tecumseh Township and USD 450 to inform them of the tax impact of that. With the closure of the plant, even though we had 35 plant employees there, we made several commitments when we merged that we would not do involuntary layoffs of any employee. And so all of those 35 had job offerings in other locations. Most of them took it. Some decided to retire. But that is a commitment that we made to our employees, and so it was not an impact to those employees in their lives. I will turn it over to Andy. He's going to give you a few more details about the property tax impact of that. It is we're demolishing it right now, and really the property tax impact will have some bearing on how much we get done as far as the demolition at the time the valuations of that property are done. So we don't know the exact impact. We also continue to put infrastructure in the county, which adds to the property base. So we don't know the exact impact, but we do know the impacts of the Tecumseh and the shutdown of that plant. Thank you.
So I think Jeff just covered the last few points there, but the good news is 2019, the property tax billing for 2019 should be about what we saw in 2018. 2020 is where we'll see the impact, or at least Shawnee County and Tecumseh. We're estimating about a $20 million decrease in the valuation, so at about a 50 mil levy, that's about $1 million decrease to Shawnee County as it relates to this one parcel. Obviously, we have lots of other parcels, and the valuation in 2020 has a lot of moving pieces in it, but as it relates to the Tecumseh, that's where we're estimating about a $20 million decrease in that valuation. To get to that estimate, we're assuming about a 90% completion on our demolition project. So if we get it done completely before the end of the year, it would only be slightly more than that. So instead of $1 million decrease, it'd be maybe 1.1 million, something like that. And again, that's only on that property. All the other Shawnee County properties, the values may go up. We don't really know where it's going to end up, but anyway, that's where we are with Tecumseh at this point. We just thought we need to get out and let the taxing jurisdictions kind of know to get a little head start on where they're going to be in 2020.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Mr. Martin or Mr. Devon, I don't know which would be able to answer, but as far as the land goes, with the demolition of the plant, are we doing some environmental impacts of making sure that we take the land back to making sure that we have any cleanup of any land? And then also, where does the Kansas Corporation Commission factor into this, where we might look at the land being able to be sold or repurposed in the future? I know that it has some attractiveness, given that it's on a rail line, there's water rights. It may be a very attractive parcel of land to a future company.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me address the first part of that. So what we do is we're taking it back to brownfield, which means that we will completely deconstruct the plant units. However, we will continue to have our substation there, the transmission lines that feed into that because they're interconnected throughout the rest of the transmission system. You're very right. The Kansas Corporation Commission, if we were to sell that land, we would have to go through them. That's a sale of an asset. We would have to go through that process. However, if we decided to work an economic development deal and somebody wanted to look at that, I think that's absolutely something we would consider. I've got responsibility for economic development for Evergy, so that falls into my area, and we've looked at that for other properties. This is not the only plant that we've closed. We also closed a couple in the Wichita area, and we're looking how to best repurpose that land as an asset for economic development or other.
Well, last night at the JADO meeting, it was announced that if Project Lightning is to come to fruition, that will take up all of the available land that we have through the Kansas Crossing, which is operated through the Growth Organization, or GO-TOPECA. And so this would be another opportunity for the county to grow. And I think
Yep.
that the townships as well as the county would like to see companies come in and replace any tax loss that we might have.
I agree. Yes. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner.
Jeff, how many acres do you have out there?
I can't answer that right off top. I'm certain, I'll go back and verify and answer that question. I don't know exactly how many acres that property entails right there, but it's a fairly large parcel of land.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Rusty, you have, okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. for
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next item, please.
Item 2 under proclamations, presentation on the United Way campaign. Angela Davis, Human Resources.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Mike Augustine with Department of Human Resources. It is my pleasure this year to serve as a volunteer for United Way. On behalf of Shawnee County, I am one of the campaign ambassadors, serving and reaching out to not only Shawnee County departments, but also city departments and some of our state agencies as they conduct their United Way campaigns. It is my pleasure this morning to introduce to the Commissioners Jessica Lindhair. She serves as the CEO of United Way Greater Topeka, and I've asked her this morning to just give us a rundown and a brief on the work that United Way Greater Topeka is doing in the Shawnee County and Topeka area.
Very good. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. And thank you so much for allowing me to share a little bit today about United Way. I first have to sincerely thank you all for your support and for the support of all the employees at Shawnee County who are vital to helping us with our United Way campaign. Last year, Shawnee County employees raised almost $8,000, which was amazing. We couldn't do work without that. But to put that a little bit in perspective, that would cover at least a full week and maybe a little more than that of high-quality preschool education for all 51 students at Pine Ridge Prep in the Topeka Housing Authority neighborhood area. That is rather impressive. We also, without your support, we would not have been able to have added a new Born Learning Trail last year in the Montera area, which I have a picture of. It's on the front cover of our annual report this year. It is a wonderful Born Learning Trail that we were able to open that is really cool to walk through, and those children, I know, if you can even just see the look on their faces, they were dying to cut that ribbon and run out and play on all that equipment. So we can't thank you enough. And to allow Mike to come help us the next couple of months, we really could not conduct all 200 campaigns that we do in such a short amount of time without the support of our community and our volunteers. So thank you so much for that. Just a little bit more about what your donor dollars are able to do for your community. It helps us to fund agencies and partners who are advancing education for children who are in preschool. We're able to provide funding for high-quality preschool education for those children that are at most risk so that they are entering kindergarten ready. It also allows us to provide funding for partners who are able to provide tutoring and extra supports to children in 3rd grade for reading and help provide support for 6th grade math scores. Because every research and everything we know is if we are not getting children in kindergarten ready and then they're not ready for 3rd grade reading and 6th grade math, they're already set up to be behind in school. They are so much more less likely to graduate high school, to go on to become an employer, to be able to contribute to our society, and it just sets them up for so many more difficulties. So we know those are critical times in a child's life that we need to be providing additional supports. Your dollars also allow us to provide financial stability programming for youth to help them gain the skills necessary to know what to expect when they graduate high school or they go on. And that could be as easy as knowing what to do in a job interview, filling out a job application, what it's really going to cost to live in the real world. That paycheck you get that's $100 for 2 weeks is not going to be quite enough to get that house that you think you're going to have with 3 bedrooms for your entire family. So it really is amazing programming. And again, we focus these in schools and areas where we know that those children are the at most risk of having some of the most difficulties. We also are able to provide funding for programs for financial stability for adults as well, to help adults be able to learn to take control of their own finances, opposed to their finances taking control of them. In addition to that, we know that without basic needs, without funding those basic needs, none of that amazing work that we're seeking to do is going to work. We have kids that are going to school, they're hungry, they're not able to learn to listen. Or if we have kiddos that are going home or worrying all day, am I going to have a home to go to tonight? Am I going to have electricity? Is mom okay? Also for adults and elderly, if they don't have their basic needs met, they're not able to be able to do well either. So we know we have to fund in those areas as well. And we do that through the areas of food assistance, rent and utility assistance, healthcare and prescription assistance, and safety from domestic violence. You'd think I would never forget any of those, but every once in a while. In addition to funding some of those amazing programming, it also allows us to do some other really cool things. We are in partnership with the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library to provide Dolly Parton Imagination Library to all children under the age of 5 in Shawnee County. That is a program where they will deliver a book in your child's name once a month, every month until their 5th birthday. Each book is other than the first book, which is The Little Engine That Could, because it's Dolly Parton's program and that's her favorite book, so she gets to do whatever she wants. After that, each book is based off the child's age. It is an absolutely incredible program. We already have over 5,000 children in Shawnee County receiving those books. That's over 50% of our children, of our population of children at that age. So we know we have a ways to go, but believe me, with the library and United Way, we're going to make sure that happens. We also are able to be a convener and a collaborator for a lot of different groups in our community. And one of those is being the lead for the Shawnee County Campaign for Grade Level Reading. It is an amazing collaboration of over 20 partners, all working together towards a common goal of helping children be on grade in reading by 3rd grade. If you don't know this yet, our collaboration has received its 4th national recognition, Pacesetter Award for that amazing work out of all 50 states. So it's some pretty incredible things that are happening in our community that we wouldn't be able to do without the support of Shawnee County. So thank you again for all of your support.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Absolutely. And I have our annual report. It's coveted until the 26th, but we get it made and we're just so excited we have to share it. So if you don't mind, I brought some for you. Just in case you want to have some of the other.
Good, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item of business, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There are 8 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments?
I would move for approval as presented.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Mr. DA?
I'd like to offer a comment regarding an item on the consent agenda.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Certainly.
And before I do that, I would like to echo the sentiment shared previously from the gentleman from Evergy. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your service, for your dedication and commitment to Shawnee County. It has been a privilege working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise, Mr. DA.
My name is Mike Kage. I am the DA, and thank you, Commissioners, for approving the consent agenda as described. The item I want to address is a $25,000 donation, one-time donation out of the diversion fund, out of my office to the Topeka Rescue Mission. And I want to take a moment and talk about why I do that, why it's important, and a couple clarification points. So, first of all, recognizing the leadership of this commission and the fact that you all were willing to step out and publicly support the Topeka Rescue Mission in their time of need. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I think the community recognizes that and appreciates it as well. The thing about diversion funds, these are not tax dollars. This is not a government bailout. This is a one-time donation. And there's from my perspective, there's a certain level of poetic justice involved here, and I'd like to, if y'all indulge me, just explain what that is. The diversion fund is filled up by folks who have broken the law, offenders who come through my office, and these are low-level offenders, typically nonviolent offenses, and they have to pay a fee in order to apply for and receive diversion through my office. So they come in, they ask for clemency, they're asking for mercy from the office essentially, and we come to an agreement that provides that with conditions that they are required to follow. The poetic justice involved here is that a lot of those behaviors have resulted in creating environments that drive people out of their homes. And what I'm talking about now specifically would be victims of domestic violence. The Topeka Rescue Mission provides a necessary service in this community. People who don't have something to eat, they're hungry, people who don't have somewhere to go, somewhere to stay that night, and the Rescue Mission looks out for them and provides that for them. And it's been very encouraging for me to see this community rally around the Rescue Mission and support them in the way that we have. I think it says a lot about the heart in this community and how much we care. Why does the DA's office care? Well, apart from providing for those victims that I'm talking about, there is a real economic need that drives some of this low-level nonviolent crime. And again, these are basic human needs. If you have a family and you don't have a way to provide for your family, sometimes you're going to step outside the law in order to do that. Certainly, we don't condone those behaviors. We hold those people accountable. But the Topeka Rescue Mission, in my mind, is preventing some of that from occurring. So the more we can dedicate to resources before people come into the criminal justice system and get involved, I think the better served we will be as a community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Under Bridge Project, Bettis Asphalt and Construction, Inc., $586,047.74 is for Southeast 29th Street from I-470 KTA to Southeast Croco Road. Under Equipment Fund, Environmental and Process Systems, Inc., $25,000 is for pumps and brackets at Adventure Cove. Under General Expenses, American Pre-Sort, $120,000 is for prepaid postage. Again, under General Expenses, Playscape Recreation LLC, $17,063.76 is for Blaisdell shade structure replacements. Under Green Space Playlands, Diversified Metal Fabricators, $10,302.50 is for amenities for several parks. Total vouchers, September 11th, 2019 is $1,673,834.86. And I move that we approve the vouchers.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Stormont Valley Event Center, number 1, consider approval of request to waive the Shawnee County purchasing policy for Spectra partnership acquisitions that would lead to increased revenues and reduced operating expenditures from partnership agreements.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectra Venue Management in the Stormont Vale Event Center. What we are requesting today is a waiver of the Shawnee County purchasing policy in regards to partnership acquisitions. And what that means is what we're trying to do with a lot of our partnership efforts, our sponsorship efforts in the community is looking at partners that help reduce operating expense of the facility by providing the same needs that have serviced the facility over a number of years. Things like equipment contractors, lease agreements, third-party service contracts, and those types of things. So what we're looking to do here is gain partnership value from partners in the community that want to spend advertising dollars in our facility, and then waive that purchasing policy that the county would hold for us to go out and actually acquire those types of contracts. I'm happy to answer any more detailed questions on that and give you some scenarios if that might help.
Question, Commissioner Cook.
Would a scenario be such as for lawn care? If we were to have ABC Corporation that does lawn care, and they want to come in as a partner?
Sure, yeah. So for that example, the lawn care service might cost on an annual basis $100,000 for us to maintain the landscaping around the grounds of the facility. Let's say that partner wanted to spend some advertising dollars or do some in-kind trade for advertising at the facility to cover half of the portion of that annual contract amount. That would be the type of scenario that we're looking at.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This might be a question maybe for Betty Greiner as our Audit Finance Director. Spectra does fall under the purchasing policies for Shawnee County. Are we setting any precedents by doing this? Are we treading into any uncharted territory by doing this?
Well, we have talked about this at length, and we've included the county councilor in the discussions also. I don't believe so, because I believe this is a unique situation where we have a management company that is actually managing that facility for us. This is not a normal situation with a county department that is doing this. So I think because of our agreements with them, that we are encouraging them to look for partnerships, sponsorships, that type of thing, and that it does, as in decreasing their expenses, it will decrease our subsidy that we pay for operating to them. So I don't believe it is setting a precedent that would be a problem.
I agree and concur with your assessment. My concern is not taking this too far or signaling that at some point in the future, you'll see a Shawnee County Sheriff's Office or vehicle with a tag on the back that says sponsored by, or,
Well,
you know, my concern is I don't want us to tread into,
Right. And your vote on this is for this specific incidents or circumstances with Spectra. So it's not making any type of an agreement with any department. That would have to come back to you for that, which I don't anticipate.
Spectra still is, I mean, they're our contractor, but they are still open to people knowing what they're getting for their services as we're holding people out, making sure that there's not some backroom deal that's being done.
And one thing I did want to clarify is, you know, we continue to follow the Shawnee County purchasing policy as it pertains to any kind of service work that's done outside of a partnership agreement. This would specifically be for vendors or contractors or licensing agencies that we would utilize in a partnership effort. So if we don't have a partnership agreement or a contract with somebody that we're looking to do, we would absolutely still be going out for our 3-bid process. We do that for all of our capital expenditures and any of that work as well. So this is specifically towards partners who want to spend advertising dollars with the facility.
All right, thank you.
Other questions or comments?
I'll move for approval of the request.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B2, consider approval of request to transfer $50,000 from the Event Center holding account into the SVEC capital expense account for capital repairs needed for fiscal year 2019.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz again, Inspector of Venue Management, the Stormont Vale Event Center. What I have before you here for request is a transfer of capital outlay funds for the remainder of the 2019 fiscal year. If you do recall, we've been operating on the capital repair funds from 2017 up to this point, so this would be our first official request for a transfer of capital funding into our capital funding account. Now, these funds are currently held with the county in a holding account for the former Expo Center, now Event Center funding for these types of situations, and we will bring this same type of request back to you next year for next fiscal year's capital outlay funding as well.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Kellen.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item C, Human Resources, number 1, consider approval of request to terminate the contract with ASI for flexible spending and COBRA.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis with Human Resources. We were requesting to terminate our contract with ASI for our flexible spending and COBRA. We have worked very hard with them. We've had contracts with them since the late 90s. We just want to make sure that we are offering the best services for our employees.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item C2, consider authorization and execution of contract C337-2019 with Surancy to provide COBRA retiree and flexible spending services to Shawnee County.
Good morning, Angela Lewis again with Human Resources. The Insurance Committee worked diligently with our partners, Willis Towers Watson, to ensure that as we terminated one contract that we could seamlessly move into another. And we vetted 3 different companies. Insurancy came out as the best for our flexible spending in COBRA. They've also agreed to take on our retiree payments for those services as well, which will be very helpful to our office. I have Emmy McMillan with Willis Towers Watson and Max Wilbur with Surancy here to answer any questions you might have about the contract as well.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
This did go through a committee. There was a selection process. We looked at multiple entities before settling with this.
Absolutely.
Okay. Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Next item, please.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any member of the public, department heads, to make presentation to the commission.
My name is Carol Marple. I want to start my comments by thanking Mr. Crowell for getting his opinion to us about the protest petition Tuesday afternoon. He found a couple of things that needed attention. We fixed them, and we started getting signatures Wednesday morning. The response has been overwhelming. We have had many, many people wanting to sign and get petitions, but I also need to make the comment that anyone that had signed prior to Wednesday morning will have to re-sign. We had to destroy those signatures. As I said Monday, since I have the floor, I would like to share a few things that I have learned. I was at the Huff and Puff, and there was a huge crowd. I talked to many, many people asking whether or not they lived in Shawnee County, and I was amazed at how many people that come to the Huff and Puff from out of town, even out of state. I want to say thank you to all the out-of-town visitors for visiting our town. Yesterday, I was at the farmers market in front of the Capitol, and it was the same thing, but not in a way I consider good. Many people that work here do not actually live here. They live in either Lawrence or Manhattan. I have said at many meetings, and I have heard about this, but it was driven home yesterday. We need to start thinking about the action we can take to help fix this situation. There was also some very lively discussions yesterday with people who play pickleball. I do not consider this petition as an attack on the sport of pickleball. I do feel that to a degree the players got caught in a crossfire. They are trying to defend their position as I am trying to defend mine. But truthfully, none of us know enough to really make comments about what it will cost, how many courts. Well, I guess we do know how many courts, but we don't know what it's going to cost. We have no idea what the infrastructure costs will be. We have no idea if people have been asked that will live where these lights will shine in their window. Are they happy with this? I understand that that's the reason that lights were not put up at Hughes Park, because people do not want the lights shining in their window. As I said, I don't know anything about the sport. I had gotten the impression that the only places that people could play were at county parks. But I have since learned that that is not true. I understand that many people play at health clubs and the Y. Do we want to jeopardize the businesses of health clubs? Think how many tax dollars they pay into our community. We just heard this morning that Shawnee County will suffer $1 million+ tax dollar loss in property taxes from the from the Tecumseh Energy Center. We're going to have to make that up somewhere. And that's probably going to be the taxpayer that's going to have to step in and make up the difference. So I want to ask everybody again, is it time to spend $10 million of borrowed tax dollars? This decision was made by two county commissioners, Commissioner Archer and Commissioner Rippon.
It's Archer.
Archer,
Please
excuse
don't
me.
mispronounce my name again. I'm getting tired of it. Thank you.
I will do that, yes, sir, thank you. Archer, is that correct, sir?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Is it time now to borrow $10 million? I think that that's a decision the people, the taxpayers, deserve to make. And I hope that you will continue to support this petition. Thank you, Commissioner Archer. Thank you.
Anyone else to address the commission?
John Fisher, 3517 Southwest Wanamaker Court,
Morning.
in Commissioner Archer's area. I apologize, sir. I was checking the Robert Rule of Order. The first paragraph I'll read so you can follow along
Okay.
with that. If we voted but later want to change that motion, how do we do it? Under reconsider. A motion to reconsider must be made by a person who voted on the prevailing side. That means someone who was on the side that carried or won that motion. This prevents someone on the losing side from bringing up a motion over and over just to annoy. The motion to reconsider should be made at the meeting at which the motion was made and voted on, although some boards allow it at the next meeting. The motion to reconsider can be seconded by anyone and require a majority to pass. Once the motion to reconsider passes, the motion to be reconsidered is on the floor, worded exactly as it was when passed. The board can now make a motion to amend it or then discuss and revote it. I talked with Betty Graham. As I understand, the first payment in the first year will be $300,000 in interest only. Over the 14-year period, $900,000 will be spent in interest. Commissioners, would you spend $900,000 out of your personal pocket for interest, not even touching the principal? Like I said before when I came here, I'm just a country boy. Now, there's a saying in the country that you city people might understand. I don't like being a virile young bull going down a chute and having my future permanently altered, and that's how I might feel if this petition is passed. I would ask and there's an old saying in Eastern culture, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I do not want to offend the people that want this family park. We need recreation. But why not do it on a physical, responsible basis and go through a metamorphosis? What can we afford by $300,000 in taxes rather than have a study of what is the priority of the different portions? We do one section at a time, another section as we have cash. I would ask, I have a little problem with dyslexia, Commissioner Archer and Commissioner Repron to consider in an executive session to reconsider tabling the motion of the bond issue until a study has been made of the priorities of what skating rink, pickleball, or whatever like that. I've come from a peculiar area. I haven't had a TV since '79 in our family, raising 8 children on one basically income. I believe in cash, not interest. Now, Commissioner Cook cannot make that motion. The two on this side one of you has to make a decision to table the motion until a study. I would go along with the paying for a study of what is the priority of the different portions. Put in one piece, put in another piece on a cash basis. Do you have any questions, sirs?
Well, I just wanted to point out a study was done several years ago, and we spent over $100,000 on that study.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yes, sir. It's called the Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Okay.
It involved community leaders from all over Shawnee County. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of people who input what they thought the vision for Shawnee County Parks and Recreation should be. The study has been done.
Okay.
And that's what we're following now.
For the whole picture?
For the whole picture of Shawnee County.
Okay. I was just asking a question.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate the opportunity to tell you that there has been a study.
Okay.
It was a 6-figure study, and it involved hundreds and hundreds of community leaders and surveys of people and what they wanted in Shawnee County. And the number one priority was that there was imbalance in the system. The citizens of the southwestern part of Shawnee County were not well served by the way that Parks and Rec was established. So, I mean, it's been done, and I'd be more than happy. You've got a copy on my desk. Be glad for you to take a look at it.
I would just consider an executive session if you could.
I don't think we can I don't think we can do that in an
Under
executive session.
Robert's
I think
Rule of
that-
Order, you can have an executive
I
session
think
if
there
you
would be a
don't.
coma violation, but I'd have to refer to the,
Okay, I was just raising a
Parliamentarian.
question as a taxpayer and a constituent.
right, and it's appreciated. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you all.
All right, thank you, sir.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. Just one little correction there. I think we had a little misunderstanding. The $900,000 a year for years 2 through 15 would include principal and interest.
Okay. Thank you, Betty. Thank you for coming and your comments.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. I just want to bring attention to you. We had a major tennis tournament last weekend. It was the 5-state, 7-district Missouri Valley 40 and over tennis tournament that brought 346 players in. All of those except 16 were from out of town. We received numerous compliments of the facility and the way it was run. I want to thank the Topeka Tennis Association and Genesis. We have a 3-way partnership on this, running the tennis courts, and it is really working well, and we're looking forward to continuing that partnership. But one thing that kept bringing it back was that they complimented our facility. And if you recall, I think it was 2 years ago, you allowed us to go out for resurfacing of these courts. This is the result of that. And I just want to thank you again for supporting Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Randy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oakes from the Health Department. So it is September, so it's time to start giving flu shots. And this is the earliest we've ever started. So pretty soon we'll be doing it in July, I think, the way things are going. But so we're going to start Monday, September 16th at our clinic, which is at 2115 Southwest 10th Street. It's a walk-in clinic. Anyone can walk in any time that we're open, and we are open over the noon hour, you might remember, for your convenience. We're also open 10 to 6 on Tuesdays for folks who work. So we take many kind of insurances. All children's vaccinations are either covered by insurance or the Vaccine for Children program. We will have some free flu for adults. We don't have it yet. As soon as we get it in, we will announce a special clinic for uninsured adults. So everyone needs a flu shot, 6 months and older. If you're medically able to get it, you're protecting not only yourself, but your family and your loved ones. So I encourage everyone that can to get a flu shot.
That's right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Linda. It's really important for those older folks that are around. Anyone else for comments to the commission this morning? Commissioner Cook.
We did have a JADO meeting last night. It's exciting that we have new opportunities that are coming to Shawnee County, and more to come next year. Looking forward to the ongoing discussion for Project Lightning as it develops. I did want to take a moment and comment that we had a real contrast the day during the commission meeting. First, we had the donation by the District Attorney's Office of $25,000 to the rescue mission, using funds from people that had received a leniency or a consideration from the District Attorney, so using money that had committed a wrong to right. And that's a good use of a donation. But then we also have the consideration of sponsorship at the Stormont Vale Event Center with corporate partnerships, and I think those are also right. But I think we do have to have a caution that it can go too far to where our endorsement of a product makes it look like we're being bought or used by a corporation. So corporate partnerships are good in our community, but I think that we should place limitations, and we continue to have limitations. The last thing that we want to do is to walk into the health department to get our flu shot and see a sign that says it was paid for by a corporation. I think that as the governing body for Shawnee County, we are responsible for the taxpayers to make sure the taxpayers know that these services are provided without influence or indulgence from a corporation. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rippon.
Well, 2 days ago, I got to speak to the Rose Society. I was their speaker, and that was an interesting evening, and we had a good time. Lots of good food. I was also at the JADO meeting, and it's just exciting to see everything that's going on in Topeka. There's a lot of economic growth going on, and I can't wait for next year, actually. So, anyway, well, that was it.
Thank you. I have two items that I need to address that deal with misinformation that's going about in Shawnee County, and I'd like the county counselor to come up. Statements were made to the news yesterday that, and this is old business, this goes back to Camp Daisy Heineman, where I spent an afternoon reviewing Camp Daisy when we were thinking about buying it. But the statement was made to the news media that nobody from Shawnee County had touched base with anybody, had spoken to anybody in authority about purchasing Camp Daisy and making it work for Parks and Recreation. And either that person is not telling the truth, or they're just totally uninformed. So I would turn it over to the counselor to update us on that. And again, this is old business, and I hate to bring it back up, but I hate for the public to be misinformed.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Krause, Shawnee County Counselor. Yes, Commissioner Archer asked me to address a couple of items related to the issue of Camp Daisy when it came to the county. And here's what I remember. It was a few years ago. Here's what I remember. I personally participated in at least 2 meetings, along with former Commissioner Shelley Bueller and former Director of Parks and Recreation, John Knight. Those meetings were with representatives of the Girl Scouts from the Kansas City area who had publicly announced that they were going to close Camp Daisy and sell the property. Also involved in those meetings were Joan Wagner. So there are people independent of me who you can go to and speak with and get their recollection of what was discussed. We absolutely discussed with them the potential for acquiring that property. At the end of the day, the sticking point was this. 2 things, and one of them relates to purchase price. And sort of like a fish story, you know how the fish get bigger as time goes on. What I hear people say, what the purchase price was for the county keeps getting lower. And I've heard 500, I've heard 400, and no. What we were told at the time, their belief, and that's the Girl Scouts' belief as to what the market value for that property was $600,000 or higher. We explained to them that we were mid-budget cycle, that we did not budget for a $600,000 purchase, nor did we budget for what the maintenance costs would be for once we acquired the property. So we needed more time if they were serious about Shawnee County with an outright purchase. We also asked, would you allow us to lease the property on a 1 or 2 year basis to give us the opportunity to get into the property and discover what the maintenance and our expense side would be, along with what revenues we may be able to generate with that property. And that would also allow us to continue to allow the Girl Scouts to offer the programming that they were going to lose by liquidating Camp Daisy. And we were told no, they were not interested in a lease. No, they were not interested in lowering their perception of market value, and that they had private buyers already very interested in the property, and they were coming to us as a courtesy to the local Girl Scouts to give the public an opportunity to purchase the property, but they were under a timeline for liquidating that property, and that's what they presented. So basically, at the end of the day, we wanted to try to explore a short-term lease in lieu of purchase at that point, and they rejected that, and they then, within a few months, I believe, sold the property. So
Okay.
that's what I recall. And as I said, John Knight was there, Shelley Bueller was there, Joan Wagner was there, and those are two meetings I remember. There were probably more meetings than that.
Okay. I just wanted to set the record straight, and anybody that says that Shawnee County wasn't interested, didn't talk to the authorities at the time, they're just not telling the truth. Thank you. In new business, I'd ask Tim Laurent to come up, please. More misinformation that I wanted to correct. I know we don't have an exact figure. I'm just asking for a ballpark figure on what it would cost to build 20 pickleball courts in the family park here.
Sure.
Approximately, and I know we don't have any solid numbers yet, but.
Right. Well, Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. We've talked about this quite a bit, and our estimate is that to build 20 pickleball courts, and possibly a restroom facility, like a park restroom, some lighting, those sorts of things, you're looking at around $1 million is our estimate. Now, obviously, that doesn't take into account any, there may be some parking issues that would need to be resolved, maybe not. You might have some, depending on where you're building it, there might be some infrastructure costs that would go towards that. But to actually construct those courts, we're estimating about $1 million.
Okay. So anyone that said that we wanted to spend $10 million to build pickleball courts in Family Park is just not telling the truth.
Yeah, that we would not spend $10 million to build pickleball courts.
Thank you. I just wanted the public to be informed. I'm tired of listening to people that don't know what they're talking about.
Thank you.
On the news. Next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
There is a need for an executive session, and I'll make a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 10 minutes to discuss employer-employee negotiations in consultation with the representatives of the public body or agency, specifically to discuss pending negotiations with AFSCME, the representative for solid waste employees, and no action is expected at this time, and that's a motion.
Second.
Motion to go into executive session by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. We're in executive session.
I apologize. Thank you for correcting me.
That's fine, I think it's just a misunderstanding, that's why I wanted to just.
Jim, don't go, I have a question for you.
We are back in session. No action is required. We're officially adjourned. Thanks for attending.
The business associates agreement on that new
Have a good weekend.
insurance thing, shouldn't commissioners sign that, not Angela?
That is a HIPAA requirement. She is the administrator
Okay,
of
so
this
so she
program.
signs, all right,
Yeah,
okay, just,
she
because I took it
absolutely
off
can.
there. Oh.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is a HIPAA, whenever you